Hey, I have a whole arm balance sequence for you coming up. So let's come to our mats and get ready. Start seated at the back of your mat, just sitting on the shins. Hands are resting gently on the tops of the thighs. You can start to close the eyes and take nice even breaths in through the nose and out. Start to prepare here with the breath. As we start the process of bringing our attention to different parts of our body throughout the practice today. Feel the shins and the tops of the feet pressing into the mat, the tops of the thighs sinking downward, the spine long and straight and strong, all the way up to the crown of the head. The shoulders and the arms relaxed now, but about to be very strong throughout our practice. Feel that energy build. Feel the readiness to tap into that stored energy in the upper body. On the next inhale, start to blink the eyes open. We'll take the hands behind the back and interlace the fingers. Inhale here, and on the exhale, start to reach the palms down towards the mat as you look up towards the sky. Opening the chest, deeply opening through the front of the shoulders. And on an exhale, release. From here, we'll take the hands up into a cactus as we open through the front collarbone. Bring the shoulder blades together, almost touching, widen through the fingers. And from here on the exhale, we'll bring the forearms together as we round, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone. On the inhale, opening up, nice big cactus arms, bringing the elbows out wide, gazing up. Exhale, come forward, rounding through the spine. Warming up the upper body. A nice gentle practice to begin. Closing and rounding through the body. One more opening through cactus. Inhale. Be expansive and broad in this motion. And on exhale, bring the forearms together and bring them down, back through and on top of the thighs. We'll come forward into a tabletop position and we'll just start to prep the wrists for our arm balance today and give a little stretch throughout the wrists. So start to turn the left fingertips towards the back, shifting them back as far as you can. Just slowly move and shift from right hand to the other as you move the fingertips to the outside of the mat and then maybe around and towards the inside. And then start to do the same with the right hand, shifting the fingertips back, facing the knee, and then bringing the fingertips towards the front of the mat and then turning them inside again towards your knee. From here, take the left and the right fingertips and point them to the outside of the mat. Start to shift the weight towards the right, leaning into the right wrist, and then over to the left. It doesn't have to be a huge movement, just warming up through the wrists. Left and right. Nice and easy, little stretch. And now take the fingertips face the right fingertips towards the top of the mat, and the left fingertips will face your left knee. From here, maybe bend that left elbow a little bit as you slowly roll the left palm up off the mat. It doesn't have to be very far at all, or just a little deeper stretch into the fingertips, the front of the hand, and definitely should feel that through the left wrist and the forearm. Go ahead and release that. Bring that back facing the top part of the mat. Take the right fingertips, face them towards the right knee, and then bend that right elbow. It can be just a micro bend. You don't even need to bend it at all, but just slightly roll into that right wrist, peeling it up off of the mat. And then allow the wrist to come back down slowly and gently. From here, sit back down onto your heels, and we'll just massage the forearms. Give the right forearm a squeeze with the left hand, working up and down. You might feel some tightness in there. Just a little bit, just to massage the muscles. Switching over to the left forearm. Very good. Maybe interlace the fingers, and from here we'll just do some wrist rolls, some figure eights with the hands. Back and forth. And then one more exercise we'll take to warm up the forearms and the fingers. Extend the hands and the fingertips out in front of you, nice and long, and then just quickly squeeze and extend those fingers into fists. And then extending the fingers out, doing that as quickly as you can. You'll probably feel some cramping, and the forearms do get tired pretty quickly from doing this. We'll do it for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. On the last one, let's lift the arms up overhead, and we'll do that above the head. A little bit different feel. Stay strong in the arms and the hands for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the hands down. Shake it out. Shake out those hands and the wrists. They should be nice and warm. Very good. From here, we'll come into our tabletop position. Tuck the toes, push back, and come into our first downward dog. Inhale here. Exhale it out through the mouth. Inhale once more, and exhale. From your downward dog, let's step it up to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, and then exhale, forward fold over the legs. Inhale all the way up to your mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands can come to the shins. And then exhale, push the hands onto the mat. Step back into your plank. Bend the elbows and shift the chest forward for your chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. From your downward dog, start to lift that right leg up into the sky. From here, shift forward into a plank pose. Bend that right knee in. Bring it towards the nose. Really compress the chest to the right thigh. Hold it here. This compression you'll definitely use in your crow pose today. And then from here, take the right knee over towards the left elbow. Right knee back towards the right elbow. And then exhale, kick that right leg back up into the sky for your three-legged dog. Then bend the knee, bring it through. Come through your low lunge, push it up into your high lunge pose. From high lunge, open up, turn out that left heel, opening up to your warrior two pose, sinking down into the hips. Flip that right palm up into the sky. Inhale for your reverse warrior. On an exhale, extended side angle, the right forearm to the right thigh, taking the left arm alongside the left side of the face, and pausing here for a moment to breathe. we'll stay in this position, but we'll change the right arm and extend that alongside the left, staying strong in the torso. You're really going to feel this. It's definitely a core burner. Hold here for an inhale. And exhale it out. Start to lift the torso and then turn to face the front of your mat. You're now in your warrior one pose. You might need to shift the stance just slightly. From here, we'll paint the front of the room with our hands, lower down into our low lunge. Pick up that back foot so that the heel is lifted. And from here, lift back up into your high lunge pose. From high lunge, can you push into that right front foot? Come to the top of your mat, lift that left knee, hold your balance if you can, and draw that left knee into the chest for a standing one-legged mountain pose. We'll take that flow a couple of times. So from your one-legged pose, we'll shift back, take a big step back behind you, and come into your high lunge. Arms are lifted. Inhale here. On the exhale, take the hands to heart center. Can you lift that left knee up? Draw it in. Hold the balance. Inhale. Step that left foot back for your high lunge. Exhale, draw it in. Pull everything into the center line. Inhale, step it back. Last one, pull it up, draw that knee in. From here, we'll return back to our high lunge. Exhale the hands down to the mat. Step the right foot back, push back into our downward facing dog, and we'll take a vinyasa. Inhale over to plank. Exhale, bend the elbows, chaturanga lower. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, push back to our downward dog. From downward dog, lift that left heel up high into the sky. Bend the left knee. Start to come forward into plank. Draw the left knee into the chest, towards the nose. Really compress between the chest and the left thigh. From here, take the left leg over, or the left knee to the right elbow, and then left knee to left elbow. Push back, extend that left leg back for three-legged dog. From your three-legged dog, bend the knee, draw the foot in between the hands, come through your low lunge, lift up into your high lunge. On an inhale, open up to warrior two. On an exhale, flip that left palm, lift up reverse warrior. From your reverse warrior, take the left forearm to the left thigh, push back into the right outer edge of the right foot as you come into your extended side angle pose. Take a moment, a breath here. Staying strong in the torso, we'll lift that left arm to parallel the right arm and hold for a full breath. Inhale and exhale. Staying strong in the core, we'll rotate to face the front of the mat. You're now in your warrior one pose. Hopefully everybody is still with me. From warrior one, paint the front of the wall as we lower down into our runner's lunge to pick up the back heel. From here, we'll lift up once more to our high lunge. So the back heel is over the back ball of the foot. From high lunge, start to draw the hands into heart center, push into that left foot, step up to your balancing mountain pose, drawing the right knee in towards the chest. But you're not using your hands. Hands are still at heart center. From here, inhale, step the right leg back for your high lunge on the left side. We'll take that a few more times. Inhale, step it up, or exhale to step it up, sorry. Inhale, step it back and open up to high lunge. push off, push deeply into that left foot as you come to the balance, standing on the left foot. And then step back to your high lunge. Probably starting to feel that in the left leg. We'll take it 2 more times, coming up to standing. And then stepping back to your high lunge. Last one. Feel the balance. Find it here. And then step back to your high lunge. Really good. From high lunge, we'll lower the hands down to the mat. Exhale, step it back into downward dog. Take a big inhale here. Exhale it out through the mouth. One more big inhale in. Exhale it out through the mouth. Very good. From here, we'll take a vinyasa. Come through, plank. Start to bend the elbows, lower the chest, and then inhale to upward facing dog. Exhale, push back once more to your downward facing dog. And from downward facing dog, start to bend the knees and lower down to tabletop. All right, from tabletop, we'll just swing those feet up to the side and then extend the legs out long. From here, take the hands to the back of the thighs and we'll start to roll down onto our mat. Nice and slowly. And we'll warm up the core with a little bit of core work. So on the mat, let's see if I can adjust my hair so that I can do this. All right, on the mat, we'll bring the legs in and then extend the both legs up to the sky. So if this is too hard for you as we're making the next ab movements, you can bring the legs to tabletop to make it a little easier. So legs are extended to the sky, arms are up. So we're in a dead bug position for some dead bug ab work. So extend the left leg out long as the right arm goes behind you. The left arm and the right leg are still in the sky, and we'll reverse that. And now extend the left arm and the right leg, and then exhale, draw it up. Keep the back glued to the mat so you're not feeling any lifting. If you are, take that modification by bending the knees so that we're not causing any back pain. We want to build strength here. Stay strong in the core. Keep that navel pulling in towards the spine. The ribs are tucked and knitted in towards each other so that you're keeping the core very rock solid. We'll take 3 more on each side. That's 1, 2, and 3. Very good. Why don't you draw the knees in, give yourself a little hug, maybe rock side to side. And from here, plant the feet to the mat. Place the hands down so that the palms are on the mat and start to lift the hips into bridge pose. Maybe walk the shoulders underneath you a little bit. Lift the hips up high. Feel the knees pushing out towards the front of the mat. Feel the engagement of drawing the hips back or the heels back towards you, almost like you're trying to wrinkle the mat. Inhale here. And exhale. From bridge, can you lift that right foot into the sky? We'll take some hip dips for 1, 2, dropping the hips down and lifting them, staying strong in that left leg. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Very good. Come back into bridge. We'll take that on the other side. Strong pushing into that right foot into the mat. Lift the left foot up into the air and start to drop the hips and lift up. Really good exercise for the hamstrings. We'll do about 5 more. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Really good. Lower the feet back down to bridge. Start to slowly release the pose, allowing the spine to return towards the mat. Curl the legs in. Take a hug once more. And from here, bring the hands to the back of the thighs. Maybe roll a couple of times until you bring yourself up to staff pose. From staff pose, the legs are extended out in front of you. And we'll prepare for a reverse tabletop. So bring the feet in, soles of the feet to the mat, and the fingertips are just behind the hips, but facing the top edge of the mat. And we'll take a reverse tabletop, push into the hands, lift the hips up into the sky, and keep the hips even. Inhale here. You can allow the neck to drop back. It's easier for me to talk in this position versus having my neck drop back. Plus it protects your neck a little bit. So holding here and reverse tabletop. Definitely feeling a stretch through the front of the shoulders. From here, shift the weight over to the left foot. Maybe take that left foot in to the midline just an inch or two and start to bend the right knee, extend the right foot up high. And we'll take 5 hip dips. Lowering for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Extending back up to the sky. Bring that right foot down. Maybe shift the right foot over to the midline just slightly. We'll lift the left foot up and take 5 more on this side for dropping the hips. Lifting for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Very good. Bring that left foot down. Back to your reverse tabletop. Now in reverse tabletop, we're going to start to shift the hips down and bring the hips in between the hands, keeping the bum lifted for our L-sit prep. Holding there, engaging the core, staying strong, and then we'll start to bring the hips back through and up to tabletop. Take that 4 more times. Pushing back, pushing into the hands, staying strong in the shoulders, lifting the hips high up to the sky, and then coming back. We'll take 2 more. Very good. From our reverse tabletop, if you can, extend the legs out for a reverse plank. If this isn't in your practice, you could skip it and stay in your reverse tabletop. But in your reverse plank, extend the legs out long. Shoulders are over the wrists. Maybe can you take that left leg and lift it so that the left foot is on top of the right thigh. Holding here. Now start to take the left foot underneath the right leg, bringing the right knee under the right leg. We'll shift over onto the left side and come into a supported side plank. If you'd like to come into a full plank or side plank, take that left leg out, stack the feet, lift through the underside of the ribs and extend through that right arm. From side plank or your supported plank, come into your regular plank pose, hold, and then step that left foot up to the outside of the left hand, right foot to the outside of the right hand. We'll sink into our Malasana or our Yogi Squat. You could shift from right to left. Maybe you need to work out those hips a little bit. You can even shake out the wrists somewhat. And then come find stillness in your Malasana. This is where we will start to work into our crow pose. So wherever you're at, if you'd like to have a pillow or a cushion in front of you to feel a little bit more safe, we'll practice into our crow pose. So I'm going to scoot back just a little bit further on my mats. In your Yogi Squat, you can come up on your toes, take the hands out in front of you, and they're about shoulder width distance apart. Fingers are spread wide, and the index fingers about the front part of the mat, or I guess we're facing the back edge now, but facing the short edge of the mat. And just play around with that, see what works best for you. From here, the knees are already very close to the elbows since we're in our Yogi Squat. We'll start to lift the hips up and maybe turn the toes in just slightly. Start to lean forward. Take the knees to the backs of the elbows or up a little further on the arms if that feels good for you. And then shift the weight forward. From here, we still are on our toes, but you could start to lift the left toes up, lifting them up off of the mat, drawing the core in, feeling that engagement through the abs. Okay, really using that in our crow pose. And for now, just let the left toes come back down. Sink the hips down. We'll do that again, but on the right side, lift the hips, the knees on the backs of the arms or the elbows, and then start to lift the right toes off of the mat. Really engage through the core. Pull the navel in, and then come back down. Take a moment here. On the next one, we'll try to get a little bit of lift off of the mat. So push into the hands, spread the fingers wide, take the knees to the back of the arms, shift the weight forward, keep the gaze looking forward, start to take one toe off of the mat, and then maybe the other, and then hold. Take some practice here. If you want to, and if you've caught your balance, hold it. If you'd like to take a rest, and then try once more. We'll hang out here and wait for you. And we'll take a second chance at crow pose. You can also take the knees further up into the armpits and maybe straighten the arms if that feels better, or if you want more of a challenge. Wherever you're at, come back into your Yogi Squat. Take a second here. Allow the breath to return to normal. And when you're ready, we'll take the hands down to the mat, step back and push into our downward facing dog. Stretch out the arms, stretch out the back of the legs. Allow the knees to come back to tabletop. We'll swing the legs around. And we'll take that on the opposite side to move around and get back to the front of our mat. So we'll start with our reverse tabletop. The soles of the feet are on the mat and the fingertips are facing the back edge of the mat. Now, from here, we'll lift the hips and start to gaze up towards the sky. Active through the hips, pushing the knees forward. Feeling the stretch along the front side of the shoulders. From here, push the weight into the left foot as we lift the right foot into the sky, and we'll take 5 hip dips. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Returning back up to the sky, slowly lower the right foot to the mat. Inhale the left foot up. 5 more on this side. We got this. Lowering for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Taking that foot back up, bring it down to your reverse tabletop. From your reverse tabletop, can you extend your legs out long for your reverse plank? Inhale here. From your reverse plank, can you take the right foot to the top of the left thigh and hold? Keep the hips high. Start to draw the right foot underneath the left thigh and then come onto your side. Shift into a supported side plank. If you'd like to come into the full expression of your side plank, extend the right foot out long. Lift into the underside of the rib cage. Stay strong through the right shoulder. From here, float that left hand down towards the mat. Come into plank. And in your plank, we'll step up. Left foot to the outside of the left hand. Right foot to the outside of the right hand. And the hips come down low. Inhale, and then exhale, release it out. Okay, we're back at the top side of our mat. We'll take another go at our crow pose. So take a moment to prepare. And then take the hands down, lift the hips, step the feet back a little bit, start to bend the elbows, place the knees either on the back of the arms, the back of the elbow, or deeply into the armpits if you can get them there. Start to shift the weight forward, gaze forward, and slowly lift the toes up off of the mat. If you caught a little bit of balance, hold it here. Feel free to take as many attempts as you need. Grip into the mat with your fingers. When you're ready, you can release it down. Come back into your Yogi Squat. Shift back and forth with the hips. And then lower the hands to the mat, lift the hips up, step the feet back into our downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, we'll come through a Vinyasa. Through your plank, exhale, chaturanga, inhale, upward facing dog. Push back through our downward dog. And from downward dog, let's take a step to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees just slightly as you come up to mountain, and then bring the hands through heart center. All right, let's shake the wrists out. We'll take an attempt at side crow. Now, if side crow isn't in your practice, or you're just starting it, we'll just take a couple of attempts here, so it'll be pretty quick, or you could always just stay in your twisted chair pose. So inhale the hands up to the sky, gaze up, exhale as you shift the hips back, and then come into your chair pose, arm alongside the ears. Start to bring the big toes together. Bring the hands through heart center, and then twist over to the left, taking that right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Gaze up to the sky. From here, we'll take our side crow. I have to spin around a little bit so that you can see me. And the right elbow will go to the outside of the left knee. I'll just return to my revolved chair pose. Start to take the hands to the mat or to the floor in front of you. And from here, the fingers are pointed almost not directly out to a 90-degree angle, but they are spinning outward so that the thumbs are angled in for me at about a 45-degree angle. Again, play with it. This is where we spin our elbows so that the elbows will bend and come inward, so we can shift the left hip to sit on top of the left elbow, and then the knees can rest on top of the right elbow as we lift the feet up. Maybe gain a little bit of air. Gaze in front of you, and then slowly set the feet back down, and we'll come back towards our chair pose. I'll just spin myself back around. From chair, we'll sink it low, and then take a twist over to the opposite side. So looking up to the sky, the left elbow to the outside of the right knee, and then shifting the hands out. And squatting down even further. So it's a pretty deep toe squat. Pointing the hands outward, starting to spiral the elbows in. Shift that right elbow under the right hip, and then tip forward as you lift the feet up off of the mat. Any height here will be fine. And then slowly bring it back down. Come back up into a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. So just a really quick side crow there, because this is getting to be a very intensive sequence on the arms and shoulders. We don't need to overdo it. From here, we'll step back into a downward facing dog, push back. And from downward dog, let's come into a child's pose. Arms can be extended out in front of you. But since we have been on the shoulders a lot, you may want to take them alongside the body and just allow the shoulders to spread out wide. Allow the forehead to sink into the mat. And just breathe. Start to wind down and relax. From here, we'll take the hands out in front of us. So extend the hands out long. I know you probably can't see me because you're still in your child's pose, but the hands are extended out long in front of you. And from here, just bend the elbows and start to bring the hands together in prayer behind your head. So it's like you're making a little shark fin on the back of your head with your hands. Stay bent into the elbows. We're just stretching into the back side of the arms. Go ahead and release. From here, we'll crawl ourselves forward so that our torso comes to rest onto the mat. And this will probably be your most favorite part of the sequence, which is some shoulder stretches to relax into those shoulders that we really worked on a lot today. So the right arm will come into a cactus-shaped position, and then you'll rest the right side of the face onto the mat. Start to roll onto that right hip. Maybe bring the left foot back behind you and stretch into that right shoulder. This is my all-time favorite shoulder stretch. You can leave the left hand right beside you, pressing into the mat for balance. You could also have it up above your head. I know I've seen a few people take that variation. Keep your breath even and start to slow down the body. On the next inhale, release. We'll come back through center. We'll take that over on the left side. So take the left arm out to a cactus position. And then the left side of the face touches down on the mat. And we'll roll onto that left hip. Maybe bringing the right foot behind us as we stretch into the left shoulder. Come back into center. From here, bring the elbows just in front of the rib cage. Take the right foot into the right hand And then lower the torso back down and extend the left hand out in front of you. See if I can do this around my mic. And from here, draw that right foot in, extending the front side of the quad. On the next inhale, push into that right foot as it pushes into the right hand, opening up the right shoulder and most likely lifting the chest up off of the mat. Inhale here, and exhale, release. Let go of the foot, let the leg extend out long. From here, we'll take the right arm out in front of you, and then draw that left foot in with the left hand, pulling it in towards the left bum cheek and giving the quad a nice stretch. On the next inhale, push into the left hand with the left foot. Chest lifts up and off of the mat, opening into the left shoulder. And on an exhale, release. Very good. From here, we'll bring the hands back above the shoulders. Take an inhale. And then exhale. On the next inhale, lift everything up. The hands, the chest, the legs, lifting them up off of the mat. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release it slowly back down. Take the hands underneath the forehead and allow the forehead just to rest onto the back of the hands. And we'll take our Shavasana here, a prone Shavasana. Allow the eyes to close. Allow the neck to rest. Feel the muscles along the forehead, around the eyes and the nose, and the jaw start to relax. Feel the neck release and the shoulders melt down into the mat. Feel this energy that was created in the upper body. Feel it flow throughout the entire body. Give yourself a minute or two to relax. That was a very strong practice, and our body will need a minute or two just to absorb everything we just did. When you are ready, start to bend the toes in and then point the feet. So we'll flex and point the ankles. Start to wake up the lower part of the body. Very slowly and with care, lift the head and the neck up off of the hands. Push into the forearms. Bring the hands back underneath the chest and shift the hips back onto the heels. So there we had our arm balance sequence, a really strong sequence that will be great for helping you build strength within the upper body and also within the core. That compression and upper body strength is really beneficial when you're working your crow pose or variations of crow pose as you move on in your practice. I hope you come back to this sequence. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and follow me on this channel for new sequences every single week. Have a great day. Bye.